I should be up and live. So when I go here, there should be, what's up, Chase FN? We're getting set up here, that's what I want. Browser source. Where is the stupid link? Cosmic, are you live or no? Where? I didn't think you were. Where am I finding? Oh, there's the link. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, did that also bring an audio source with that? I don't think it did. Can anybody hear? What's up, guys? Can you hear Cosmic? If Cosmic talks, can you hear Cosmic? I'm going to deny that. All right. Interesting. Can people? No, you cannot hear. I didn't think you could. And I know why that is. But I don't know why. Oh, that's why I need to do it. 2 seconds. This is like the most convoluted way of doing things. No, that's not browser screen. That's what I want to hide. Hide that. Don't hide that. All right. Now you should hear Cosmic. If Cosmic gives a little chitty chat. Let me just. I'll tell you. Give me 2 seconds. All right, Cosmic, give me a mic check. What's up, Casey?
Mic check. Mic check.
All right, you're there. You're there. You're just really low. So I'm gonna take that up to 10. And that. All right, guys, listen. If you want to get some races in, jump on into my lobby. Go ahead. You guys should be able to hear Cosmic now. Let us know. We are tonight, as you guys jump into the lobbies, tonight we are talking about the Volkswagen Beetle. Continuing. This is we're kind of like finding our voice, right, Cosmic?
Yeah, we are. It's getting there. It's refining.
Absolutely. So right now, what it kind of is it's kind of like, what was I going to say? Like this is kind of our vehicles and video games, but we are doing a podcast that's a little bit more vehicles and movies, videos, video games, stuff like that. A little bit different. So kind of two different contents, which is cool.
One doesn't have to be edited though.
Yeah. All right. And let me just make sure. This is going to drive me nuts. I've got I get to hear myself twice. All right. Anybody join my lobby? We will get some races in. As we get into. If you haven't checked out, check it out on Spotify. Check out Vehicles and Videos. Cosmic, give me another mic check before we get into this.
Mic check. Mic check.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Yeah. I'm trying to also make me and you the same volume. Oh, you know what I can do?
Yeah.
I think I can change your volume here too. Guest volume. All right. Well, I'll just do that. All right. Anybody are you guys going to jump in lobby? Are you guys going to play? Or what are you guys doing? I guess there. You know what, Cosmic? You want to do? I mean, we could probably just do the Beetle episode really quick while people watch if nobody's interested in playing.
I mean, yeah, we can do that.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of ignore chat. I'm going to go into the episode. And
yeah, and then we can hop into a recording thing.
Yeah, we'll just
get
yeah, I'll just
the intro and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. 2 seconds. I'm going to turn down that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to send you something on Discord just to keep us on track. The one thing Riverside that I was looking into, the cool thing about that was it had a teleprompter function, and so I could like set stuff up and then just read as we go, kind of thing. All right, got a bunch of specs there. Hold on 1 second.
You know that weird house with the corner garage that we never see people at? Coldbrook?
Maybe, yeah.
It's for sale.
Okay.
Looks cool inside.
Cool. Sounds good.
That's it. That's all I had for you.
That was lovely.
Corner garage.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a corner garage. I don't know. It's near me, I guess. Whatever. Not
It's
certain.
got garage doors on two sides.
Yeah.
Remember? Three on this side
corner
and a
garage.
double on this side? But
I don't know.
you know the one next to the pond?
The one that what?
The one next to the house with the pond. Like you come down our road,
Uh-huh.
there's a house with a pond, and then you turn, and then there's that big open green space with a weird corner garage. You're like, how do they use that? It's stupid. There's no one ever there, but the lawn is always mowed.
Maybe.
It's on the right. Oh, I'm leaving.
Cool. Does it have a roof?
No.
Does it have windows?
Lots of them.
Does it have a door?
It has a rec room with a pool table and a ping pong
It has a rectum?
table, and
It has a rectum.
An upstairs fireplace above the corner garage.
Upstairs armpits? Man.
Sounds like a great house.
All right, Cosmic. I tossed some information into the Discord for you if you want to just kind of like follow along with any of that stuff. I'll start off with a quick little. I think I can put a marker in here. I'm going to put a marker in, and I'll just get into the show a little bit, guys. Welcome to Vehicles and Videos, where two car enthusiasts talk cars and movies, cars and video games, and overall automotive stuff.
Yes. I'm Cosmic. I've been working on cars for 3 years, and I've seen way too much, more than I should have. I'm only 22. I've seen more, and I have gray hairs.
I'm not dead yet. Well, I might be.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I'm getting better.
All
right, guys.
My co-host here.
And I'm Be Cool. I am a former prop master, and I've taken my share of taxi doors off for camera. Today we are talking about the 1963 Beetle, but not just any 1963 Beetle. Herbie the Love Bug. Cosmic, let's not really go Herbie just yet, but first impressions, Volkswagen Beetle, the original. Just, what's your growing up, etc. First impressions? Cool car, not so cool car.
So personally, I've never really been a fan of the Beetle or Volkswagens, really. But the Beetle is definitely an interesting car. Because if anybody doesn't know about this, the whole little punch buggy, punchbacks comes from a Beetle. That's what it is. Whenever you see a Volkswagen Beetle, you say punch buggy color of the car, and you punch someone, and you say no punchbacks.
I
That's
can
where
tell you,
that stems from.
I've definitely played that game for hours on end, for years and years and years, and I'll tell you, I 100% forgot about that. Punch buggy yellow, no punchbacks, whatever it happened to be. Also, padiddles. Do you remember padiddles?
I've never heard of that one,
A,
actually.
a
No.
padiddle is when a car, when one headlight is out on a car. That's a padiddle.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah. So I gotta say, Volkswagen Beetles. I've always enjoyed these cars. I always thought they were really cool cars. Um, more specifically, Bumblebee. Bumblebee in the 80s was a yellow Volkswagen Beetle.
Mm. Yeah, the original animated Transformer series. The
Absolutely,
Bumblebee
yeah.
Beetle.
And I don't know if it was that did it for me. Um, but definitely, I really liked the Beetle. I thought it was a really cool car. And as I grew up and I got more and more into Volkswagens, it just continued to be a cool, nostalgic car for me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. Like I said, I've just never been into the Beetle. Um,
Right now, have you
it's not
seen
my style of car.
Herbie the Love Bug or any of the Herbie series?
I have not. You can call me boring, but I actually don't really. Because what he's from a movie, right?
Right. So so more recently there is a Herbie like Fully Loaded or something like that, or Herbie Rides Again or something like that. But it stars Lindsay Lohan. And so you might have potentially seen that or at least heard of that. But that's the least famous of all the Herbie bugs. I think um, Herbie the Love Bug was the first movie from what I remember in '64, I think it was. Um, and it started in 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. It had it wasn't a convertible, but it had like that slide back rag top, which was really cool. Um, Interestingly enough, in the film, in the Love Bug film, they did not get permission from Volkswagen to use the car. Volkswagen was actually afraid that that it would be too much of a joke. They'd be making fun of the car, so they didn't use any of the emblems. And if you look at the first movie, all of the emblems are removed. The hubcaps that doesn't have the emblems. The hood doesn't have the emblems. But if you watch it the later movies and they kind of stick with that 63, you'll see that the emblems start to show up as the movie gets more and more popular. You see that the emblems start to show up, and they kind of show off that fact of like, hey, it's a Volkswagen. Another interesting thing is it was Herbie the Love Bug, right? But
Mm-hmm.
at the time, until 1968, it was called a Type One. It was not called the Volkswagen Beetle. It was called the Type
Yeah,
One.
I did see that it is the Volkswagen Type One. The '68 model was the first time that vehicle was named the Beetle.
Right. Which I mean, I think which is also kind of interesting because when I think about it, when I think of the Beetle, like I never really thought about the year of Herbie the Love Bug, right? But thinking
Mhm.
of Beetles, I'm like, oh, that's probably like a 60s, 70s car, not really putting years on the car specifically. But I mean, this has a much bigger history, right? This goes all the way back. to like 1942, right? It was it has a pretty vast history there. But it was originally made as in Germany as the people's car. It is the same. It's the same body as the Porsche 356, I think it is. It also shares the Carmen Ghia, shares the Dune buggy, shares the Bradley GT. They all have the same basic footprint and chassis with a slightly different top.
See, it's interesting that you bring up the dune buggy because the Beetle is used for quite a few things, but I think the dune buggy is one of its more popular uses
Right.
for
So
it.
so there's the
Raising it up, putting some big old tires on it.
right. So there's a difference. There's the Beetle Baja, right, which has been raised. Generally doesn't have a trunk on it. You know, it has the engine exposed. But then there's also like the Volkswagen uh, Dune buggy, which is more similar. There's a 70s cartoon. It rivaled, was it Grape Ape? It kind of rivaled Scooby Doo. It was on about the same time, and they had a Dune buggy that kind of was animated and talked. It was not Herbie, um, but that is the Dune buggy, and it's the same chassis, same motor, stuff like that. Um,
See, it's interesting that you say that because I vividly remember a one of the animated Scooby Doo episodes. They had a crossover with like a couple different cartoons, and I believe it was actually an orange beetle that they had in there.
okay, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking.
I'm actually looking it up.
Orange Dune buggy cartoon. Yeah, Speed Buggy. That's what it was. Speed Buggy. That's it. And it's funny. The one I'm looking here. It almost looks like Shaggy in like a green race suit. So they did have some sort of crossover that had Shaggy and
Oh
Scoob
yeah,
in it,
it
or at
does.
least similar drawn characters. But yeah, that is the Dune Buggy. Not to be confused with the Baja. Again, there is the Baja series. Now, going back to Herbie, there's some really cool things that I found out about this. So a lot of times what happens when you have a major car like that, like the car basically becomes an actor, right? And if you think of something like, you think of like an action movie where there's a star. I mean, like Jackie Chan is notorious for doing his own stunts, right? So he doesn't have a stuntman. Well, cars are kind of the same thing. If you have something such as Herbie, where the car is doing a lot of stunts and involved in a lot of things, you're going to have multiple. You're going to have multiple cars, and as far as people can tell, there's 11 different Herbie cars for the first movie. Now the hard part about that, and why people believe there's 11, but there could be more or there could be less, is because basically they had to buy a lot of cars to kind of maintain the cars they had, right? Like they'd maybe go to a junkyard and buy whatever shells they could, so they had fenders and wheels and whatever else to kind of resurrect something that might have gotten broken that shouldn't have, a door that might have, might need to be replaced or whatever else, right? Now of those 11 cars right now, currently they believe that 3 to 5 of them have survived, but there's only 2 that are actually known cars of Herbie the Love Bug. The number 2 car and the number 10 car are the only 2 cars that are known to currently exist, from the first movie. This is now what's even more interesting about either of those cars. The number 2 car was rigged specifically to be driven without a driver. Now that sounds real weird, right? Driven without a driver. It was rigged.
And this is when?
This was a 19. I forget what year. I want to say 1964, 1965. This movie came out, but it was rigged so that somebody could sit in the back seat and drive the car, aka remotely. But it was just like they kind of extended the steering, and they had a different steering wheel and a different seat position and stuff like that. They were able to manipulate the gas and brakes and make the car drive, but from the camera, it looked like there was no driver. I mean, now the way we would probably do that is we would probably just go ahead and put put a guy in a green suit in the driver's seat and like call it a day, right? And it would be like, oh, cool, there the dude is, but we'll just take him out. We'll just roto-zip him out and he's done. But I mean, they do a little bit more practical effects these days than just that. So don't get me completely wrong. But
I mean, that's still pretty cool having the ability to kind of extend everything to the back seat, because I know nowadays, like your training, like your driver's ed vehicles, though the passenger side has brake pedals for the
that's a
driving
good point.
instructor. So them being able to extend it all the way back, both brake and gas pedal, and being able to have the steering wheel be able to steer. If it was either a completely different steering wheel that they had rigged into it, or if they had it kind of so it would turn the normal wheel itself to make it look like it was actually turning on its own for certain shots. I don't know, but being able to do it back then like that, it's still pretty impressive.
So I have seen more modern versions of the same thing, and honestly, the technology really hasn't changed that much. They still use like the same things, it's like gears, chains, like not extension cords, but like they extend the cables using different cables, stuff like that. So it's kind of similar. A little bit difference is now we get into more like drive-by-wire cars rather than, back then the cars were much more mechanical. Keep in mind the motor's in the back, right? So things like the accelerator cable would have to come all the way along the bottom of the car and then up to the gas pedal. So to move that is probably really easy because you're actually cutting the line, right?
Yeah,
at least I would think so.
Make sense. Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's how that works. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that one was really interesting. And then the other kind of the number 10 car was a car that was used for an accident. I think I can't remember the movie specifically. There's a lot of parts that I remember. And I've seen so many of the movies that so many of them blend together, and I can't remember which one is which. But at one point in the movie, the car does end up getting into a crash, and the front hood gets all smashed in, and so on and so forth. And that's what happens. It runs off the cliff, right? It gets pushed off, runs off the cliff, down into the ravine, whatever else, and it's like demolished. And it's kind of like that 60s, 70s era, like, will he ever ride again? And then the next film is Herbie Rides Again, and he gets reconditioned. But that number 10 car is one of the two cars known in existence that still exists from the original Herbie the Love Bug.
So I'm looking on this website. It's called a Peterson Automotive Museum. And what it looks like, it just has like a bunch of famous vehicles in it. And one of the ones they have on display is the 1966 Volkswagen Beetle Herbie number 53.
Right. So there's plenty of clones. There's a lot of clones. Funny enough, in 1974, you could buy the Herbie package from the dealer. And the Herbie and it had the same paint scheme and all that stuff. And that's what you could get from the dealer. Yeah, that was 74. But there's like, if you go to YouTube, you can probably even find how to how to make a Herbie clone.
Yeah, sure, you could.
Yeah. And and a lot of people do, because it's kind of like nostalgic. A lot of people do make that clone, but it's interesting that of the 11 production vehicles used, Only 2 of them really survived, and I can kind of understand that too. Is like, when you make a movie, you don't know how iconic it's going to be. I mean, you don't know the success of where it's going to go, and you might not think like, oh, hey, this one got more destroyed than that one or whatever else, and you just kind of pass it off. You don't think like, hey, this is going to be a collector's item one day. um, I mean, that's kind of what you've heard me talk about other collectible things, and that's kind of what makes things collectible is when they become rare, right? When they become overproduced
Right.
and too easy to get, that's when they lose their collectability, right? That's when they lose their value. Now, interestingly enough, in Herbie Goes Bananas, the number 6 car is one of the top selling Herbies. It sold in 2022 for $212,000.
That is insane.
Right? So a Volkswagen Beetle, memorable, $212,000. Now I know that the number 10 car changed hands around about that time. I don't know how much that sold for. I'm guessing it's probably a similar number, but I don't have that number. I don't have that number specifically. I don't think the owner was about to get into that. But again, that's a Volkswagen Beetle that originally retailed for about, what was the original retail on that? I knew it. I think it was like $2,000 or $3,000 was the original retail. Which
Yeah, Beetles are
yeah,
on the cheaper end of your vehicles.
and so there wasn't a whole lot there to it. So outside of the movie memorabilia, I mean, that's a really expensive car.
Right.
Then wait, you know what? I might have made a mistake. The number 2 car might not. Sorry. I think that I have in my notes here something else about the number 2 car, and I think I transposed them. I don't think one of my number 2s is in the wrong spot, but one of the cars that they modified for Herbie, you know, the you and I were talking about the specs offline a little bit, and maybe you could hit us up with the specs really quick. But a stock 1963 Volkswagen Beetle, Volkswagen Type 1 is slow, right?
Very slow. So the the 63 Beetle, it has a 1.2 liter air cooled flat 4 engine producing a whopping 40 horsepower.
Now that is 65 foot-pounds of torque.
Yes. but the car is also, I mean, the top speed is 70 miles per hour.
Right.
And it also weighs, I saw it somewhere. Hold on. I think it was like almost, yeah, okay. The curb weight of the 63 Beetle is 1,631 pounds.
So that's actually pretty light in all things considered.
Yes, pretty light,
1,600 pounds.
but for 40 horsepower, that 40 horsepower is
Absolutely.
really trying to push that car.
Yeah, and I know like those earlier like 1200 cc 1.2 liter motors were definitely pretty hard to kind of. I think a lot of people swap those out. The Super 90 is kind of the preferred, which I think. But I know that they put up the Porsche 356 engine in one so that they could get a top speed of 120, so that some of those racing scenes, I mean, if you watch the movie, he's racing against Corvettes, he's racing against a lot of cars that are a lot faster, and he's beating them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a car that has a 0 to 60 time of 27 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's blazing quick. And a little thing. So you mentioned the 1200 cc engine.
Uh-huh.
Those nowadays are typically in motorcycles.
Well, that's a really good point. Yeah, you've got like a small bike is a 600 cc, right? Like a big bike is a 1200 cc or even larger probably now. I haven't really kept up with bikes, but yeah, that is a really tiny motor. I mean, I know I know in Europe, 1.2 liters, 1.3 liters, 1.5 liter motors are a little bit more and more common. They're a little bit more economical. The cars are smaller. All the crash stuff is less. Um, so, but you're getting more horsepower out of them. You're getting about 100 horsepower out of those kind of motors, unless you're talking turbocharged. Now you're starting to see like 1.3 liter turbocharged motors. Um, that are hitting maybe even as much as 200 horsepower, which is kind of cool. But
Right. And I mean, like you said, those are also turbocharged.
right,
This 63 Beetle turbocharging wasn't really a thing back then.
not at
Maybe
all.
it was, maybe on your higher, like high end ones,
Right.
but like your normal family sedan, turbocharged, you'd be looked at as absolutely insane.
Yeah. So I looked these up. I'm familiar with these like on the drag strip, right? And what's interesting is, and I think it's partially because of they're air cooled, but they only do an eighth mile. Vin Diesel's classic line of "I live my life a quarter mile at a time." That's because most drag races are a quarter mile. This is half of that. This is 1/8 of mile. And I don't know, and I honestly really don't know why they only race an eighth mile. My guess is either the gearbox or the air cooled of the motor, um, or or just the ultimate top speed. But they they run a 15-second eighth mile, which again,
That is insanely slow.
yes,
Because if you take quarter miles, which you said are twice the length of
yeah,
that eighth mile, there are cars that are flying through that quarter mile in like 3 seconds.
yeah, no,
Like
yeah. I
they are
mean,
insanely quick.
yeah, I
And
think
the eighth mile being
anything
yeah,
under 9 seconds you have to have a roll cage, stuff like that, right? And I think
right.
you're looking at like really really fast or jet engine cars to get close to that 3 second range. um but what I it made me think, and I had to look it up. I was like, you know what, there's got to be like a world record fastest Volkswagen Beetle um in the eighth mile. And unfortunately, the answer I found was like, well, they're constantly they're constantly breaking records. I was like, well, that makes sense. But
Yeah, I would hope so.
um I can't even remember the time off the top of my head. But 7.6 second pass at 198 miles per hour,
Yeah,
which is a lot
I
faster than
mean,
what we've been talking about.
yeah, no, definitely faster. Like that 7 second range is what you typically get from your quarter miles.
Right.
Um, and just for the fun of it, I looked up what the world's fastest quarter mile was. Just for a comparison. World's fastest quarter mile is 3.22 seconds at 402 miles per hour.
Awesome. And what kind of what
Driven
kind of
by a
vehicles?
rocket car.
Yeah, a rocket car, exactly. So you do need more than a combustion engine to get to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. You need jet propulsion for that.
Yeah.
But that's what you're gonna get when you look up world's fastest mile time or something. You're gonna get something with a jet engine in it.
Yeah. Well, so the Volkswagen Beetle was definitely, especially Herbie, was really cool. I love that rag top. I love, I do like the simplicity of the car. The interesting thing, I'm not sure if you knew this, the heat was it was a really weird heat system, and I think they ended up changing it because people would actually get carbon monoxide poisoning. But basically, they wrapped the exhaust. They somehow wrapped the exhaust and fed, and not the exhaust, but the air around the exhaust back into the cabin to heat the cabin. Um, Something weird like that. So if the exhaust pipe itself got rusty, the exhaust would go into the heat chamber and then uh, get people sick. So they did have to
Yeah,
they did have to
that's
change it. I can't remember how it got changed, but that's what I do remember. Um, but I had to look into because, with a 40 horsepower motor, right? Like, what kind of motor swaps are people doing? And funny enough, we talked about it 3 episodes ago. The rotary engine, because you can do a
Oh
two
yeah,
rotor small engine. The rotary engine is a very popular motor swap for these cars. Or at one point it was. I don't know about anymore. Now, I think a lot of people kind of like to keep things, you know, uh, in the Volkswagen Porsche family. So they're probably doing the Porsche motor. I think that was a 1.6 liter, the Super
probably
90.
doing their what is it, GTI,
The what?
or
Sorry.
is it not GTI, GDI, or whatever they're like the golf engines they're probably throwing in there.
Yeah, so keep in mind this is an air cooled car. So to transfer it over to a water cooled,
Yeah, I
it's just like,
guess.
where do you put the radiator, stuff like that. Now, a friend of mine did tell me at one point that there was a way to put a 2 liter ABA, which is a Volkswagen 2 liter air water cooled motor, into a Beetle. But I don't know if he was just BSing me, or if he was telling the truth. Um, I never really fact checked that. We were too busy drinking beer at the time, honestly. but
That's fair.
um, but I know like the Type 5 motor was an upgrade, and which I think was is it yeah, I think it's the Type 5, which is 1500 cc, and then there's the 1.6 or the 1600 cc Porsche motor that are also swaps in there. Now, speaking about the GTI motor, the 2 liter ABA, like I mentioned, that can be found in the new Beetle. When the new Beetle came out, they put a small little 2 liter 4 cylinder motor in it. Um, I think it did a great job of kind of like updating it, but looking like the original. And it also came. I've seen a lot of those in the Herbie paint scheme. um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't remember if it was a factory option or not, but it was there. Um, And then, crazy enough, they came out with the Beetle RSI. And the Beetle RSI, if you're not familiar with that, that is a 6 cylinder motor that they've crammed in there. They've done all wheel drive, which is not typical for Volkswagen anyway. And man, it was a little bit lower, great looking wheels, and I think they made that for part of the Beetle Cup. It was. I also remember it. You could also do the Beetle Cup and drive that car in Gran Turismo 2. I don't know. I haven't followed up with Gran Turismo's. Kind of been anti PlayStation for a little bit, so I haven't kept up with Gran Turismo. But I'm sure something similar to that is available. Um, all right, we talked.
Um,
Go ahead.
you brought up the RSI. Just some quick little things about it. Um, produced, and I might be wrong about this, but what I'm seeing is it was produced 2001 to 2003 with only 250 of them made.
Yeah,
So
very limited number.
very, very rare.
Yep.
Um, like you said, it's a 3.2 liter 6 cylinder, um, producing 221 horsepower. So a lot quicker than our 40 horsepower.
Absolutely.
Um, all-wheel drive with a 6-speed gearbox. Um, MSRP when it was new was $80,000, which,
Yeah.
get this blew my mind, equivalent to the price of a Porsche 911 at the time.
Right. Well, when there's only
So this
250.
Beetle, yeah. So this Beetle was the same price as a Porsche 911, which is one of Porsche's faster street legal cars.
Right.
But if I do remember, I'm pretty sure Volkswagen owns Porsche.
Yeah, Volkswagen owns. I think So at one point, Porsche was the parent company, but I believe Volkswagen is now the parent company.
Mhm.
They own Porsche, Audi, pretty certain Bentley. I
Yep.
thought Lamborghini for a little bit.
Nope. They own Lambo.
Yep, they own Lamborghini. Yeah, they own a good amount of cars there for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
they're kind of like Europe's version of GM.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. All right, all right, Cosmic. Let's do a quick little wrap up here. Now that we've talked about the Volkswagen Beetle, have we changed your perspective at all? At all? Do you have a little bit different? Are you still not into it? Are you like,
A
hey?
little bit. I think I don't know. I think just the fact of having a 40 horsepower car would be absolutely hilarious. Um, Herbie, definitely a cooler looking one. Going back to him really quick. When I was talking about the one they have on display over at that automotive museum.
hmm
Um, so that Beetle stock had 40 horsepower. They have modified the engine and the number 53 car to 190 horsepower with the top speed of 138.
Oh, nice.
Um, and a little quick fact about the 63 model. 217,124 Beetles were sold in the 63 model.
Wow.
So quite a few.
Yeah, that's a good number. All right,
Um,
so you said you'd enjoy a 40 little horsepower. I mean, that's basically an underpowered lawnmower these days. But
oh yeah,
would you daily drive this thing?
it depends. Yeah, I would probably say no. It would probably be a like a garage car. I'd kind of
Yeah,
keep it in there. Maybe bring it out for some like car shows or something. But
nice.
I definitely would not daily drive it.
All right, so we've got three options here, and I'm going to call the rag top different than the convertible. Sometimes they're the same, but you've got a hard top, you got the slide back rag top, or you got the convertible. Which one are you going with?
I'll go. And I've said it before. I'm not a huge fan of convertibles, but I'll go a convertible on a Beetle.
Oh yeah, nice little just chiller cruiser, right? Like I'll get there someday, kind of thing. Just chilling, you and the
Yeah,
fuzz.
I'm not. I'm not in a rush
You,
anytime.
you're definitely not getting pulled over in that.
Mm-mm. Actually, no, I would because I'd be going too slow.
Well, you just constantly wire the flashers so they're always on. That's what you do,
Yeah.
right? All right. Would you track it? Is this a car that you would take to the track?
If we're talking about like the 63 model, no. The RSI model, yes, because that is meant for tracking.
Absolutely. And they're kind of two different animals, but yes, absolutely. Yeah. Um, okay. Would you raise it? Would you go more Herbie style or would you go that more Baja style looking
Oh, I'd
Beetle?
go Baja style all the way.
Baja
If
style.
I'm gonna have a Beetle, it's gonna be a Baja or
Love it. Love it.
your dune buggy looking one.
And just so my answer to most of those questions is I don't know that I would daily drive it. I wanted one in high school 100%. I would have daily driven it as a high school car. They were inexpensive cars at the time. I don't honestly know what the used market is right now on these, but
Probably not too high. I would
right. I could
assume.
imagine. I can imagine in that $5,000 to $10,000 range, you could probably find something that's at least drivable and needs some sort of love. But my build for this would be, um, I'd want the slide back rag top. I want to chop the top just a little bit because it's really big and bubbly. I want to chop it, bring it down just that little bit. I'm definitely going for more of that eighth mile drag look and feel overall than anything else. Um, and as far as tracking it, that's the track that I would take it to. Is I would want to go to the drag strip. I would go. There's so many, like there's bug offs. There's the spring show and go. There's so many Volkswagen Beetle related car shows, or at least there used to be when there's a lot of drag strips open. I would do that. I would love to do bracket racing in a Beetle. I think that would be a lot of fun. 8th mile, man. As soon as you're out of first gear and in second, you're at an 8th mile, right? Hopefully. But I think that would be my build. Probably a non-factory color. And obviously we're talking like big old, some sort of, I don't know if I would go factory motor. And when I say factory, like I mean like a built MP motor, crate style, or Porsche air cooled. I think there was also a 6-cylinder air cooled that fit in there. I could be wrong, but that's more or less my build on the Beetle. And I think that just about wraps it up for this evening, Cosmic.
Yeah, I think we got everything. Just sorry, one more thing. 4-speed manual transmission in that car.
Right.
So not a lot of gears to work with.
Not right. And a 4-speed manual. Yes, absolutely. I think there was, so another interesting thing, I think at one point Volkswagen had a clutchless. It was like they called it an automatic transmission, but it wasn't quite automatic. It was like a clutchless transmission that you still had to shift through gears.
Yeah, I saw something about that. It was like an automatic manual transmission or something like that.
Wasn't the flappy paddles by any means.
No, not at all.
Right.
Let me see if I can. Automatic transmission is not equipped with the conventional. It came with a 4-speed manual or a less common clutchless auto stick semi-automatic option.
There you go.
It was a manual transmission that used a torque converter and a vacuum-operated clutch, requiring the driver to shift gears, but without a clutch pedal.
Oh, interesting.
So, quite literally a clutchless manual.
Yeah. So neat little cars. I don't know, what year was that? That was probably more in the 70s.
I just 63.
Oh, was it really? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right smack dab to the car we're talking about, 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, tune in. We're trying to release on Thursdays. So if there's a car that you want to hear us talk about, if there's a movie and a co-star as a co-star in a movie, let us know your thoughts. You can leave mention in the comments. You can join us on Discord. You can join us live on Twitch. Choice is yours.
Let's hit up this wheel spin real quick. See what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, let's see. What do we have next? I forgot about the wheel spin. We've got something. It's coming up next week. We don't know what it is. We're spinning the wheel of destiny right now.
Ram.
Oh, Ram. So were we talking Dodge? Did you put Ram in instead of Dodge?
No, I put both Dodge and Ram in because Ram does. If we want to talk about it, the Ram Charger, because I'm pretty sure that is a thing. It is separate from Dodge. Or we could talk about one of their trucks, like the Ram Rebel or Longhorn or something.
All right. Well, we'll have to look into. We'll definitely. We'll let us know. Again, let us know in the comments or Discord or catch us live on Twitch and let us know what Ram or Dodge Ram
or Subaru. in case we can't get a Ram or we can't figure one out, we can do a Subaru.
Well, worst case scenario, it'll be like that military vehicle that has the Ram on the nose, and they just drive into
right. It is a Ram.
Or we could talk football, and we could talk about the Rams. Guys, I had a great time hanging out with you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. We will be talking about some sort of Ram, some sort of Rams. Maybe it'll be Ram colored Ram vehicle.
RAM, just RAM in general.
We could be talking about computer RAM or computer ROM. I don't know. But thank you again, guys, for tuning in. See you next week.